Howdy. Welcome back to the last lesson of the week. Yesterday, we started to look at whether or not relationships are proportional from scenarios, and I told you we're going to start being able to apply that. And so today is where we continue applying our knowledge of proportional relationships to solve new problems, and hopefully you start to see how can knowing something's proportional really help me answer a lot of questions I might be wondering. We've got two example problems here today. We know there's an election coming up in November and you can't vote yet, but your voice is incredibly important. Let's imagine for a moment that you're trying to figure out how long it's going to take people to vote. You learn it takes 6 minutes for every 2 people to vote in the election. And you want to know how long will it take for 20,000 people to vote at your local voting station? Well, do you remember what we always did last time first that we can always do when we're talking about a scenario? We can always make a table. And one way I try and figure out what goes on each side of the table, if I need to make a table, 6 minutes for every, usually the for every is your independent variable, because for every 2 people, how long does it take? It takes 6 minutes. So in general, just like our relationship is y over x, when you see it written out, the y is usually going to come first. So usually we're talking about the number of people, and those people are going to take a certain number of minutes. And so 2 people are going to take 6 minutes, which would mean 4 people would take how long? 12 minutes, and 6 people would take 18 minutes. And I can ask myself, do I know it's a proportional relationship? And I do, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 12 divided by 4 is 30, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. One thing we haven't talked about the word that you might have heard from 6th grade is this word, unit rate. The unit rate is the rate per 1. I know it's a unit rate if I'm talking per 1. Right now it's not a unit rate because it's saying 6 minutes for every 2 people. It would be a unit rate if I was talking about 1 person. So how do you think I would take 6 minutes for every 2 people, and what would I do to get 1 person? If you said divide, that is correct. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So it's 3 minutes per person. Why is that helpful, Mr. Z? That's helpful because now if I know it's 3 minutes per person and I know that there are 20,000 people, what could I do if I know these 2 pieces of information? Well, I could take the 3 minutes per person, I could multiply that by the 20,000 people, and that would tell me that it's going to take 60,000 minutes for people to vote, which is way too long, and that's going to tell me that I need a lot more polling spaces for all of those people to vote. Let's take a look at the second one. Over the weekend, I walked 3 miles in 2 hours, and so the 2 hours is my independent variable. So if I wanted to make a table, notice how y once again comes first. I have hours and I have miles, and it took me 2 hours to go 3 miles. If I wanted to just think about the relationship, how far would I go in 4 miles? I would go 6. Now here's where people get confused, so don't let this trick you. If someone said, what's the unit rate? I could be like, okay, well, if it's 3 miles for every 2 hours, and I start to slow down because I'm like, I don't know 3 divided by 2. Pro tip, you don't have to know what 3 divided by 2 is, though it's helpful. We can still use the same trick or the same idea, which is this is still a division problem. What is 3 divided by 2? You can plug it into a calculator or you can leave it as a fraction. It is 3 over 2 miles per hour, or 1.5 miles per hour. All I did there is I converted it to a decimal. 3 over 2 is the same as 1.5. So if I'm trying to figure out how far I can go in 5 miles, just like with our voting, all we have to do is multiply by 5, and my answer is 7.5 miles. Hopefully you're seeing how proportions can help you solve problems, and you can use that to solve problems today. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you next week.